Hey everyone, Andrew here. Tonight, I've got 3 disturbing true horror stories that will make you question what's really out there. These aren't just made-up tales. Each one is a real submission from viewers, just like you, from strange encounters in the dead of night to things lurking just beyond our perception. These stories are as chilling as they are unbelievable. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? I love seeing how far my stories reach. So sit back, turn off the lights, and let's dive into these 3 disturbing true stories that might keep you awake tonight. Story 1. I was house sitting for the Hartley family that October in the historic district of Asheville, where Victorian homes stood shoulder to shoulder like old friends sharing secrets. The architecture was beautiful but claustrophobic, with walls so thin you could hear neighbors arguing 2 houses down. Mrs. Hartley said the quiet would be good for my graduate thesis. I mostly felt like I was being stored away in someone else's life. The house had a strange layout, hallways that ended abruptly, closets built at odd angles, and a narrow staircase that seemed to shift depending on which room you approached it from. Mr. Hartley explained it had been remodeled several times over its 100-year history, each owner adding their own peculiar touches. That's where I first heard the tapping. 3 nights in, around 2 a.m., a soft rhythmic sound echoed from somewhere inside the walls. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Tap, tap, tap. It had the precision of Morse code, deliberate and patient. I convinced myself it was pipes settling or a branch scraping against the exterior. But then I heard footsteps. Not above me on the 2nd floor, where I knew no one could be. These came from inside the walls themselves, moving parallel to me as I walked through the 1st floor hallway. When I stopped, they stopped. When I moved, they followed. I called Mrs. Hartley the next morning. She laughed nervously and mentioned that yes, the house did make unusual noises. Old buildings do that, she said. But there was something in her voice, a hesitation that made me think she was holding something back. That afternoon, I explored the basement. Boxes of old photographs, furniture draped in dusty sheets, and against the far wall, a door I hadn't noticed before. It was small, maybe 4 feet high, painted the same color as the wall. No handle, just a smooth surface with a tiny keyhole. I mentioned to the neighbor, Mr. Chun, an elderly man who'd lived on the block for 40 years. His expression darkened. He told me the house used belonged to a man named Vincent Merrow, an architect obsessed with hidden spaces. Vincent had built secret passages and concealed rooms throughout the house, claiming he was creating spaces between spaces, where time moved differently. Vincent disappeared in 1987. The house sat empty for 3 years before the Hartleys bought it. Workers who attempted renovations reported tools going missing, cold spots that moved through rooms, and once, a construction worker swore he saw a man's face pressed against the inside of the sealed wall, watching him. That night, the tapping grew louder. It moved through the walls surrounding my bedroom, circling, always staying just out of sight. I tried to sleep, but around 3 a.m., I heard something new. Scratching. Long, deliberate scrapes against wood, like fingernails dragging slowly downward. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight, shining it at the wall where the sound originated. The scratching stopped immediately. In the silence that followed, I heard breathing. Slow, measured breaths coming from inside the wall, mere inches from where I stood. Then a voice. Quiet, barely a whisper, but unmistakably human. "Can you hear me?" I couldn't move, couldn't speak. The voice continued, calm and curious. "I've been here so long. The walls know my shape now. They've learned my pattern." I ran, grabbed my keys, my laptop, and fled to my car. I sat in a 24-hour diner until sunrise, shaking, replaying the voice over and over in my mind. When I called Mrs. Hartley, she didn't sound surprised. She admitted they'd had experiences in the house. Sounds, movements, the feeling of being watched. They'd learned to live with it, she said, as if it were a quirky feature like creaky floorboards. I refused to return. The Hartleys arranged for someone else to finish the house-sitting term. But 2 weeks later, Mr. Chin called me. He'd spoken with a new house-sitter, a college student named Derek. Derek had opened that small basement door. Behind it, He found a narrow passage that ran to the interior walls of the entire house, with small carved-out viewing holes that looked into every room. At the end of the passage, Derek discovered a makeshift living space. Blankets, empty food containers, and dozens of notebooks filled with observations. The handwriting matched architectural plans found in Vincent Merrill's office after his disappearance. The final notebook entry was dated 3 days before I arrived at the house. It read, "New guest arriving soon. I wonder if this one will hear me." The others never listened long enough. The police investigation found no evidence of anyone currently living in the passages. The notebooks were old, the food containers decades expired. But Derek swore that when he climbed into that hidden space, the air was warm, as if someone had just been there moments before. The Hartleys sold the house the following spring. I heard the new owners sealed all the passages they could find, filling them with concrete. But Mr. told me that late at night, neighbors still report hearing tapping from inside the walls, moving from room to room, searching for someone who will listen. Thank you, Marcus T., for your submission. Stories like these remind us that sometimes the scariest things are the ones hiding in plain sight. It's time for the second submission, sent by Dahlia M. ***. Story 2. Hey, my name's Dahlia. I've never told this story to anyone outside my immediate family, because honestly, who would believe it? But it happened, and 3 years later, I still check the locks twice before bed. Please excuse any errors. English isn't my first language. It started when my parents decided to host a foreign exchange student. His name was Thomas, supposedly from a small town in Norway. He was 17, quiet, polite, and almost unnaturally well-mannered. The agency had excellent reviews, all the paperwork checked out, and my parents were excited to expose my younger brother and me to another culture. Thomas arrived on a Tuesday evening in late August. I remember because it was my birthday, and I felt slightly annoyed that this stranger would be sharing my special dinner. But he brought me a gift, a hand-carved wooden box with intricate designs. "For my grandmother," he said with a slight accent. "She makes these for good fortune." The first week was normal. Thomas was helpful, cleaned up after himself, and spent most of his time in the guest room studying. He said he was taking online courses to stay current with Norwegian curriculum. My parents adored him, but I noticed things, small things that didn't add up. He never received calls or emails from family. When my mother asked about video chatting with his parents, he said their internet was unreliable. He flinched whenever we mentioned taking photos together. And his accent, it seemed to shift, becoming stronger or weaker depending on who was in the room. One night, I couldn't sleep and went downstairs for water. I heard Thomas talk in the guest room, his voice low and urgent. I pressed my ear to the door. He wasn't speaking Norwegian. It wasn't any language I recognized, just harsh, clip sounds that seemed to follow no pattern. When I mentioned it to my parents, they dismissed it. Maybe he was practicing another language. My father said, "These European kids learn 4 or 5 languages." 2 weeks in, my younger brother Sam started having nightmares. He'd wake up screaming about the man with no reflection, standing at the foot of his bed. My mother assumed he was watching too many scary movies, but Sam insisted he'd seen Thomas in his room, just standing there, watching him sleep. I decided to test something. The next morning at breakfast, I casually took a photo of the kitchen, making sure Thomas was in the frame. Later, when I looked at the picture, my stomach dropped. Everyone was there, my parents, Sam, me, but where Thomas should have been standing, there was just an empty space. The chair he'd been sitting in looked vacant. I thought maybe it was a glitch. So I tried again, asking Thomas directly if I could take his photo for a school project. He froze, his pleasant expression cracking for just a moment. "I'd rather not," he said quietly. "I don't photograph well." That night, I did what I should have done from the beginning. I searched for Thomas online. The name he'd given us, Thomas Erickson, matched dozens of people, but none looked like our Thomas. I searched for the exchange program. The website existed, looked professional, but something felt off. The contact number went to a disconnected line. I told my parents. They were skeptical, but agreed to call the program coordinator. The woman who answered claimed to know nothing about a Thomas Erickson. No student by that name had been placed with our family. According to their records, we declined hosting a student this year. My father's face went pale. Who is in our house? We confronted Thomas that evening. He was sitting in the living room, reading, looking perfectly ordinary. When my father asked about the discrepancy with the agency, Thomas smiled, not his usual polite smile. This one was different, wider, showing too many teeth. I suppose the arrangement has run its course, he said, standing slowly. I've enjoyed my time here. Truly. My mother demanded answers. Who was he? How did he get into our home? Thomas tilted his head. Considering, I'm someone who needs places to stay, families to belong to, temporarily. The paperwork, the phone calls, they're not difficult to arrange when you know how. I'm calling the police, my father said, reaching for his phone. Thomas moved impossibly fast. One moment he was across the room. The next he was standing directly in front of my father, hand gently stopping him. Please don't. I'll leave. I've never hurt anyone. I just needed somewhere warm, somewhere that felt like home. There was something in his eyes, something old and desperately sad. How many families? I asked, my voice shaking. Many, he admitted. I stay a few weeks, a month at most. Then I move on. Different cities, different countries. I've been doing this for a very long time. Sam, who'd been hiding behind my mother, whispered, "Why don't you have a reflection?" Thomas looked at him, and for the first time, seemed genuinely uncomfortable. That's complicated. Let's just say I'm not entirely here. Not in the way you are. He walked to the guest room and emerged minutes later with a small bag. Everything else he left behind. At the door, he turned back. "Thank you for your kindness. I'm sorry for the deception." Then he was gone. We never saw him again. The police found no records, no fingerprints, nothing. The wooden box he'd given me disappeared that same night. The agency we thought we'd been working with denied everything, and our bank records showed we'd never actually paid any program fees. Sometimes I search online for stories like ours. Families who host exchange students who turn out to be no one. People who appeared from nowhere and vanished just as completely. I found 3 similar accounts, all from different countries, all describing a polite young man who left no trace. We moved 6 months later. My parents never spoke about it again, but Sam still checks his room before bed, and I still remember the way Thomas moved, too fast, too fluid. And sometimes late at night, I wonder how many families he's visited since ours, and where he is right now. Thank you to Dahlia for sharing this unsettling experience. Your courage in speaking up reminds us that not everything can be explained. Asterisk, asterisk. Story 3. Hello, Andrew. My name is Kira, and I'm a long-time viewer of your channel. I work as security guard at a storage facility on the edge of town. The kind of place where people keep things they can't quite throw away, but don't want in their homes. I've worked the night shift for 2 years now, and until last month, the job was exactly what I expected. Quiet, boring, and lonely. The facility has 200 units spread across 5 buildings, most of them climate-controlled, all accessible only with personal codes. My job is to monitor cameras, walk the grounds every 2 hours, and respond to any alarms. In 2 years, I dealt with maybe 3 actual incidents. A raccoon that triggered a motion sensor, a customer who forgot their code and tried to break their own lock, and a car that broke down in the parking lot. Then Unit 127 was rented. I noticed in the system log one Monday morning when my shift ended. New rental, 6-month lease, paid in full, cash. The name on the contract was listed as J. Holloway. Nothing unusual, except that in my 2 years, I'd never seen someone pay cash for 6 months up front. The first week was normal. I checked the cameras periodically and saw nothing. Unit 127's door remained closed, the hallway empty. But then, during my 2 a.m. walkthrough, I noticed something. The air near Unit 127 felt different. Colder, heavier, like walking into a freezer. I checked the climate control system. No malfunctions. The temperature in that corridor should have been a steady 68 degrees, but my breath misted in front of my face. The next night, the camera feed for that hallway started glitching. Static, then clear, then brief flashes of darkness. I assumed it was a wiring issue and made a note to have maintenance check it. But during my walkthrough, I heard sounds coming from Unit 127, scratching, rhythmic and persistent, like something dragging across metal. I stopped outside the door, listening. The sound continued, then stopped abruptly. Silence. I knocked. Security. Everything okay in there? No response. I checked my tablet. No one had entered the unit that night. The access log showed the last entry was 4 days ago at 11:47 p.m. I moved on, uneasy but telling myself it was pipes or the building settling. But the sound continued every night, always between 2 and 3 a.m., always from Unit 127. On Friday, I decided to check the master access log more carefully. J. Holloway had entered the unit only twice since renting it. The first time for 43 minutes, the second for 6 minutes, both visits late at night. Both times, the cameras in that hallway had experienced technical difficulties. I mentioned it to my supervisor. He shrugged. People rent storage for all kinds of reasons. As long as they're not breaking rules, it's not our business. But I couldn't let it go. Something felt wrong. So on Saturday night, I brought a secondary camera, a handheld one I could control manually. At 1:45 a.m., I positioned myself in the corridor outside Unit 127 and waited. At exactly 2:03 a.m., the scratching started. I aimed the camera at the door, recording. The sound grew louder, more frantic. Then I heard something else. A voice, muffled, distant, but definitely human. It sounded like someone calling for help. My hand shook as I reached for my phone to call 911. But before I could dial, the door to Unit 127 clicked open. Just an inch, enough to spill a sliver of dim light into the hallway. I should have run. Every instinct screamed at me to leave. But I thought about that voice, about someone possibly trapped inside. I pushed the door open wider. The unit was empty, completely bare. No boxes, no furniture, nothing. Just concrete walls and a single flickering light bulb hanging from the ceiling. But in the center of the floor, someone had carved words into the concrete. Deep, jagged letters that read, "He knows you're watching." I stumbled backward, heart hammering. The door slammed shut behind me, and the lock engaged with sharp click. I was trapped. The light bulb flickered faster, casting wild shadows. The temperature plummeted. I could see my breath in thick clouds now. And then, from the corner of the unit, a shadow peeled away from the wall. It moved toward me slowly, deliberately, taking shape as it came closer. It looked like a man, but wrong. Proportions slightly off, movements too smooth. It stopped a few feet away, and when it spoke, the voice echoed from everywhere at once. "You shouldn't have looked." I don't remember much after that. I woke up in my car in the parking lot. Sunrise breaking over the horizon. My supervisor found me there, confused and concerned. I told him everything, expecting him not to believe me. Instead, his expression turned grave. "Unit 127? He asked quietly. I nodded. He sighed heavily. "This is the third time. We keep renting it out, trying to, I don't know, normalize it, but it always ends the same way." He showed me incident reports I'd never seen. 2 previous night guards had reported similar experiences. One quit immediately. The other filed a police report claiming someone had been living in the unit illegally. Police investigated, found nothing. The rental contract for Jay Holloway was fake. The signature didn't match any ID on file. The security footage from that night had been completely wiped, not just glitched, erased. I quit the next week. I couldn't go back, knowing that Unit 127 would just be rented out again, that someone or something would continue using it. But here's what haunts me most. Before I left, I checked the access logs one final time. Unit 127 had been accessed the morning after my experience. At 6:14 a.m., right after I woke up in my car. According to the log, I was the one who entered it. Thank you to everyone who sent in these stories. I hope you enjoyed them. After all, we're all fans of horror, which is why we're here. If you like these stories and my effort in sharing them, don't forget to hit the like button. These are all true submissions, which makes them even more chilling. I love you all, and I can't wait to share more true horror stories with you soon. Stay alert and keep enjoying the thrill.